American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all come down like blues on Tuesdays come down. Throw it all away.
Welcome to another episode of American Timelines by History for Jerks. This is episode 160, and my name is Joe, and right next to me is a beautiful young lady, a beautiful blonde bombshell named Amy.
Hello, everybody. We started?
Yeah, and we're back.
Oh, yes. We needed a week off, so that's all right.
Yeah, we could have used 2 weeks off.
And we got to hear about Jeffrey Dahmer again.
Yeah, we just,
That's one of my faves.
well, that was just a thing I've wanted to do.
That was the story that got me into true crime really hardcore.
Really?
I was in high school, and I was a senior in high school, I
So
think.
you've been into true crime since high school?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was like a senior in high school, and I
Long
heard about
time
it, and I just couldn't believe. I was just fascinated.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So you're an old school crime head.
Yes.
But it's not time to talk about that. It's time to talk about the Time Heads. Thank you, Time Heads, for coming back. Thanks for your patience and letting us take a break. Things are getting busy for us and hard to do, even though Amy's off because she's a teacher and doing nothing.
That's so not true.
No, it's almost like you're doing more.
I know.
Anyway, we're in transition. It's hard to get back into the schedule of things. Like, what's going on? We're still coming out of this pandemic. Anyway, enough excuses. We're back with another episode. We're jumping into 1953. We don't have a guest this week. We actually don't have any scheduled for the foreseeable future. It's just, again, it's a lot of work to
Okay,
coordinate
nobody needs to
schedules
care.
and all
Nobody
that.
cares.
So we might just take a break from guests for a little while. And the bottom line is we can do whatever we want.
That's right. Okay, let's get
Because
started.
Stone Cold said so. Bottom line. All right.
We're going to
And that's
talk about
the bottom line.
All right. We're talking about
Stone Cold
1953
said so.
and we're diving in
Yeah.
because this is a new year.
And as we do with New Year's, we got a bunch of shit. I got a bunch of shit up top
Okay.
that doesn't have dates, and I'm going to burn through them fast.
All right, let's hear it.
The first thing is that Soviet scientists first observed in 1953 that unpeeling a roll of Scotch tape produces X-rays.
How?
If you unroll Scotch tape in a vacuum, it produces X-rays somehow. I don't understand how. I read
Okay.
up on it. I don't understand it, but it
That
does.
just blew my mind. So let's
Yeah,
move on.
They discovered that in 1953.
Okay.
But don't worry at home. You don't have to be afraid to unroll Scotch tape when you're wrapping your Christmas presents
Yeah.
because it only happens if it's in a vacuum. Just don't wrap presents in a vacuum. You'll be good.
Yep.
Also, some advertisements
Okay.
in 1953. Some jingles. You'll wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent.
Gross.
Yeah. Isn't that gross?
Wow.
Everyone's teeth were bright yellow until 1953.
Probably.
So, yeah, Pepsodent toothpaste came out.
Okay.
The Coppertone Girl was introduced
Oh, yeah.
to the American public in 1953. Probably the most famous butt crack of all time,
Right.
according to popculture.us.
Mm-hmm.
Colgate Palmolive Pete became just Colgate Palmolive. They dropped the Pete.
It was Pete on it?
It was Colgate Palmolive Pete, P-E-E-T.
And Colgate.
P-E-E-T.
But Colgate and Palmolive are two different things. One is a dish soap and one is a toothpaste.
Yeah, but the brand is Colgate Palmolive. And I
it
think,
is. I
Yeah,
didn't know
I
that.
think probably Colgate Palmolive made both things.
I would say.
But now they've become separate,
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I wasn't around then. I'm guessing. If you're around the 50s and you remember, just give us the background on Colgate Palmolive.
Oh, we are interested.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
Wow.
That's from 1953.
It's that old.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I thought that was like a 90s or an
Yeah.
80s thing.
That's what I thought.
But no, the Almond Joy's got nuts. Mounds don't. They're that old. That shitty candy was around then.
Yeah. Coconut. You got to be a coconut fan to like those.
Yeah, I like coconut. I do. And,
Almond Joys are pretty good.
Almond Joys and Mounds aren't bad, I don't think.
Mounds, I'm not that crazy about.
It just doesn't have almonds. It's the only difference, right?
Right.
It's probably great. It's just when you're thinking of a candy bar and you get to choose as a kid, like any candy bar you want.
Yeah,
like,
you're not going to pick
I'm
one of
not
those
gonna
two.
fuck with that if that's all I can get. But
What
if
would
that's
you pick?
around, when I was a kid, I always went to Reese's every single time.
Did you?
Never astray. Maybe a Butterfinger here and there, but always Reese's.
I was
pick.
big into bubble gum. I was in like Bubble Yum and Bubblicious. I couldn't get enough
You were
bubble
the
gum.
person we would punch. Like,
Yep.
You're the dumb kid that bought bubble gum. Like, bubble gum? Why would you buy bubble gum, you stupid idiot? You
Hey,
can get
those Bubble Yum and Bubblicious.
Yeah, they were delicious, but you could
delicious
get, it was
gums.
kind of counted separately. Like, you can have gum anytime. Like, you can always get bubble gum. But when
Okay.
you get to choose a candy bar, only the
Right.
idiots would pick that. And I always hated the people that picked, like, Skittles or the fruity stuff.
Right.
I always
Okay.
wanted to hit them with a shovel. I don't know why so violent. Why so mean?
Yeah, really.
You're accepted. You're fine.
If you want to
people.
sing out,
In
sing
hindsight,
out.
it's fine.
Yeah.
But back then, ooh,
Back then.
don't get on my bad side.
Yeah. Okay.
And my Andy always picked, or John always picked Snickers.
Yeah.
And Andy always picked. He always took 8 hours to pick. And the idiot who took Three Musketeers also is dead to me too. I love Three Musketeers. Don't get me wrong.
I don't care for nougat.
Oh, I love nougat.
I
love
like
me
nougat
some nougat.
in the Snicker,
Fill my bed with
but
nougat,
I don't
baby.
like nougat on its own with just chocolate.
I want nougat all day.
All right, what's next?
I don't know if that's nougat. That's not what nougat is.
Yeah, Three Musketeers is just nougat with chocolate on it.
No, the nougat is in Snickers, right? That's like the.
It's in, yes, with caramel and peanuts and
No,
nougat.
I think that Three Musketeers is not nougat.
Yes,
That's other
that's
stuff.
all nougat. It's
Something
the
else.
whole thing is nougat.
I
Now
don't-
that word's starting to sound weird. Isn't
So
it?
in Snickers, the white stuff is the nougat. Right?
Yeah. No, it's not white. It's like chocolatey colored.
No.
Anyway,
No.
I'm correct. What are you doing?
Three Musketeers.
You're going to be. This is another one of those times.
We've had this conversation before, and
another one of those
it's
times
fluffy. It's not nougat. It's fluffy other stuff.
consisting of chocolate-covered
it's-
fluffy whipped mousse.
Not nougat.
It is nougat.
That's not.
That's what nougat is.
No.
Look it up. What is nougat?
Is there nougat in Three Musketeers? No.
Yes. Look, light and fluffy nougat center wrapped in a delectable chocolate.
No.
Light and fluffy nougat center.
That's a recently updated
No, that is nougat. That's
fluffy
in there.
nougat center. I guess that is nougat.
This is yet another time
I guess that is nougat, but it's a
that
different
you
kind
owe
of nougat.
me.
What is nougat?
I'm waiting for my
Okay.
apology.
What is nougat? What is nougat? Okay, you're right.
According to Wikipedia, nougat is a family of confections
It's a
made with sugar or honey, roasted nuts, whipped egg whites, and sometimes chopped candied fruit.
Wow, it's a family of confections made with sugar or honey, roasted nuts. So there's different kinds of nougat.
Yes.
You could have almond, walnut, pistachios, hazelnuts. That was behind my confusion. So I will officially apologize for
Thank
my
you.
nougat
God,
mistake.
if you guys don't understand how rare
Don't worry.
This
In about
is-
a month and a half, I will have
Because
forgotten this whole conversation,
Joe-
and I will demand an apology, and that she's wrong again.
he will. He will. And he
Hey man,
and
you ever see
he-
Groundhog Day?
he never apologizes.
Or what's that one where
Never.
Drew Barrymore keeps forgetting she's on a date?
All right, what's next? We got way off track.
100 First Dates. Matchbox cars were introduced in 1953.
Oh, Henry loved those.
That's our son. He likes cars.
Hmm.
Matchbox cars and
Hot Wheels
Hot Wheels are different.
or Hot Wheels, as they used to be.
He
As
also
it used to be
called,
pronounced in the
he
70s.
also called women's boobs wheels.
He did.
Wheels. You have wheels.
Yep.
Ore-Ida
Mhm.
offered tater tots in grocery stores for the first time in 1953.
Boy, that took off.
They were simply just pressed leftovers from their French fry line.
Give me one of your tots, Napoleon.
They took all the leftovers, all the shit that nobody wants,
Made it
pulled it
into a
out of the
tot.
garbage. It used to be in the garbage. One day they pulled it out of the garbage and cooked them and sold them as tots. And now people love them.
Yep.
I always thought people like tots are idiots.
You like tots.
No, I don't like
Oh,
tots.
you're not a tot.
I'm not a tot guy.
That's
I don't like
true.
hash browns either. I don't know why.
You're crazy. What about that hash brown?
I don't hate
What about
them.
that cheesy
don't
potatoes
like-
your mom makes? That's
Those are an exception.
We need to tell her to make that. She doesn't make
She
that.
better
in a
get
long
off
time.
her ass and
better
make
tell her.
those.
We're going to visit
Listen,
her
you
this weekend.
70-year-old woman, get off your ass and make me some cheesy potatoes.
Yeah.
It's Christmas in July. All right, the word frenemies
Yeah.
dates as far back as 1953.
Oh shit! Were we supposed to get people presents?
No, we're not doing the present thing.
Okay, good.
Okay. The word frenemies dates as far back as 1953 when it appeared in print referring to U.S.-Soviet relations. Did you know that? Frenemies.
No, I thought that was like a.
Frenemies sounds like a 90s thing. It sounds like somebody...
It sounds like something like Karen would say.
Yeah, I think it sounds like something like Ross and Rachel said.
Oh, yeah.
Friends.
Yeah.
TV Guide began publication in 1953.
Yeah.
And originally it was a porno. Did you know
No,
that?
it wasn't.
Okay, it wasn't. First musical synthesizer was invented by RCA in 1953.
A
And that-
synthesizer?
Yeah, the first synthesizer, and that was made for porno.
Boop, 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 boop,
That
boop,
wasn't
boop.
1953. That's Herbie Hancock.
I know.
All right, Coca-Cola attempted to persuade the U.S. Treasury to mint a 7.5-cent coin in 1953
Yeah.
because a can of Coke had been a nickel since 1886 and needed to be raised due to inflation, but they felt like a dime was too expensive.
So what'd they do?
They wanted the U.S. Treasury to mint a 7.5-cent coin because that's what price they wanted to make their soda. The U.S. Treasury was like, "Get the fuck
you.
out of here!
Fuck you.
Fuck out of here with that
7.5
Coca-Cola."
cents.
But Coca-Cola, they were so big, they're such
Yeah,
a big
they
deal.
probably-
They thought they could do that.
Well, they had cocaine in their soda.
I love cocaine. From 1953 to 1958, the Cincinnati Reds officially changed their name to the Cincinnati Red Legs
What?
because they were afraid of being confused with communism because they were the Reds. It was the Red Scare.
Oh, jeez.
So they changed them to the Red Legs.
That's like because they couldn't do Red Sox because that was already probably a
They
thing.
were already a Red Sox, yeah.
Red legs.
Yeah.
That's stupid. It just sounds dumb.
Arthur Holly Compton, do you know who that is?
No.
He was the Nobel Prize winning chancellor of Washington University, Wash U.
Yeah.
He was irritated by how fast people were driving through campus.
Mm-hmm.
So to combat this, he designed the modern speed bump in 1953.
Oh.
No speed bumps till 1953, baby.
Wow. That is pretty funny.
So-
Like, can you imagine the accidents that must have happened before they had speed bumps?
People were flying.
Yes.
Of course, cars, I don't know how fast they went then, but think about it. If you have a need for speed.
And back then, if you flew over a speed bump in those cars that they made back then,
Oh,
the
they
whole
would
thing
fall
would just fall
apart,
apart.
bro.
Yeah.
So think about this. If you have the need for speed and you happen to have a time machine, you're going to want to go
Before
1953.
1953.
because speed bumps.
Yeah.
I guess, but they probably weren't. They just
Widespread.
started in 1950. They
Yeah.
probably weren't widespread till later. So you're probably 53 is probably safe. Also, 1953, Johnny Cash
Yeah.
heard a song called Crescent City Blues from Gordon Jenkins.
Yeah. Probably a black fella
I think they're white. I think it's two
because
white
usually they steal.
people. But I
music
watched the
from
YouTube video
black
of it.
people.
I think they're white people in this
Oh.
one. But he heard this song by Gordon Jenkins. I could be wrong. I should look up Gordon Jenkins. And so he basically stole it. He heard the song.
Yeah.
Later, he did Folsom Prison Blues. It sounded just like Crescent City Blues. So he had to pay him a settlement of $75,000 later.
That's kind of chintzy.
Yeah. Let's look up Gordon Jenkins real quick. Gordon Jenkins.
According to
Okay,
witnesses,
he's a white
He's a
guy.
white guy.
He's a dumb white guy with a mustache. Anyway,
So, well,
all radios manufactured in the U.S. between 1953 and 1963 had a little white triangle on the dial at 6:40 a.m. That is to indicate where civil defense information would be broadcast.
wow.
Isn't that crazy? Like every piece of radio you have has an emergency thing in case you needed to listen to.
I wonder why they took that away.
Well, 1963, something else probably changed. Television, maybe they decided to put on television.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe they don't have just a dedicated channel.
Or
maybe
they
they have a different emergency situation.
maybe
that
they
goes
just go out
everywhere.
through all the channels.
Yeah, it probably goes out through all of them. In 1953, the city of Niagara Falls bought a plot of land called Love Canal, not Love Canal, from $1. For $1. They
Yeah.
bought it for $1 from a chemical company, Hooker Chemical Company.
Oh boy.
They had to change their name because they were confused with hookers, probably. It's now called Occidental Chemical Corporation. they had used that area as a dump. Despite warnings from the company, a school was built on that land.
Oh, no.
From 1974 to 78, 56% of children in the area were born with birth defects.
Oh, no. That is terrible.
That's awful. Since 1953, the government of Netherlands has sent Canada over 1 million tulip bulbs as a gift for Canada's part in the liberation of their country during World War II.
Oh.
Canada has since turned this into the world's largest tulip festival, the Ottawa Tulip Fest.
Have you ever seen those pictures of tulip fields in Holland?
No, I've never seen those pictures.
It's gorgeous. It's
It is?
just hills of these different colors.
I bet nobody takes pictures of it after the tulips all died, because tulips last
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yep, that's true.
30 seconds. When I have tulips in our yard, they last a day.
Yep, that's true.
Fucking tulips. Maybe other places they last longer, but fuck tulips. I'm on the record. Fuck tulips. I'm saying that forever.
Yep.
Fuck tulips, man. Waste of time. All right. According to literature is our category in this next one.
All right.
There was a limited edition, 200 signed and numbered.
Yeah.
Of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451.
Oh, wow. I bet those are worth a pretty penny.
Well,
now.
but listen, they were bound in asbestos
Oh, no.
to prevent burning. Because people were burning books like that.
Oh. So where are they?
But the thing is, you could still burn the pages. You just couldn't burn the cover, I guess. So it's
Yeah.
kinda dumb.
That is dumb.
The copies are much sought after by collectors, though. But they're
I guess
around,
so.
yeah.
Wow.
Here are the top 5 television shows
Okay.
of 1953, according to Nielsen. Number 1, I Love Lucy,
Yes.
CBS. Number 2 was Dragnet. Number 3 was Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned it a little bit, but I looked into it a little bit, and I think we mentioned it because it was a radio and television variety show, which was on CBS from 46 to 58, sponsored by Lipton Tea, starring Arthur Godfrey, who was sometimes introduced by his nickname, the Old Redhead. But this was the guy who, I think we talked about this, but he was on all kinds of shows, all kinds of different mornings on radio, was on TV,
Mm-hmm.
Arthur Godfrey Time, his Talent Scouts was another one. But on this show, he fired a guy on the air. It's the infamous on-air firing of cast member Julius La Rosa in 1953 tainted his down-to-earth family man image and resulted in a marked decline in popularity, which he was never able to regain. And
Oh.
I think he became an alcoholic and stuff.
So the audience was against his side.
Yeah. Now you can watch it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not obvious that it wasn't already planned. Like he just said, "Oh, and this is his last day." But
Oh, is that what he did?
yeah, and the other guy kind of makes a face like, "Oh." And this was a time where talent he got fired because he started trying to get an agent, and when people are unionizing, they would
Yes.
fire him and stuff
Yep.
like that. So
You got to keep the man down.
yeah.
The man has to keep you down.
and so he would like check with other competitors and look at Ed Sullivan and stuff like that. So that was
Yeah.
anyway. So you can see that online. Look that up, and his on-air firing. I wouldn't have known watching it that he fired him. Like it sounds like
What's the guy's name again?
Arthur Godfrey,
Okay.
Talent Scouts, and it's Julius. He fired Julius. What did I say?
I don't remember.
La Rosa.
Okay.
And he had no idea he was being fired that day. But he was like, and this is his swan song. This is his last show.
Oh my.
And the fourth best show was You Bet Your Life,
Mhm.
hosted by Groucho Marx.
Okay.
And that was like a quiz show that, and there was one episode where it was controversial and they had to cut out a line Groucho supposedly said. He later denied he said it, but there was somebody on there, contestant had 17 or 20 children. He was
Mhm.
interviewing a lady who had 20 children,
Jesus.
and he asked why she had such a large family, and she said, "I love my husband." And then Groucho responded, "I love my cigar, but I take it out of my mouth once in a while." Boom! Yeah, so that was too risque to be aired, so they had to cut that out.
Oh my God, that's fabulous.
Isn't that great? I guess it sounds dirty when you say it out loud. When I was reading it, it didn't sound that dirty. But and then the Milton Berle show is number 5. And that's all for the things that don't really have dates. Or just
Dates,
things.
right. Okay.
Now we're going to jump into the year, January 1st, 1953. Are we ready?
Yes, let's
Ready
do it.
to do this?
Yep.
Let's get on board the 1953 train, y'all.
All right. What's first?
January 1st, 1953 was a Thursday. Hank Williams died.
Oh, okay.
He was born in 1923. He was an American singer, songwriter, and musician,
That's right.
regarded as one of the most significant and influential American singers and songwriters of the 20th century. He recorded 35 singles. 5 were released posthumously
Mm-hmm.
that reached the top 10 of the Billboard Country and Western bestsellers chart.
I don't think I could name a Hank
I
Williams
can't
song.
either. They're all like old school country. I
Yeah.
don't know any. The only thing I know about him, honestly, is that he's Hank Williams Jr.'s dad.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I only know him because he was Monday Night Football. I hated country music as a
Mhm.
passion and with a passion as a kid, and I still don't much care for it.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, he was born and raised in Alabama. He was given guitar lessons by African American blues musician Rufus Payne in exchange for meals or money. So again, even our biggest country stars, black people taught them how to do their thing.
That's right.
So it's like all music is black people's music.
That's right.
And so thank you, black people. Payne, along with Roy Acuff and Ernest Tubb, had a major influence on Williams' later musical style. Williams began his music career in Montgomery in 1937, where producers at local radio station WSFA hired him to perform and host a 15-minute program. He formed the Drifting Cowboys backup band, which was managed by his mother, and he dropped out of school to devote his time to his career. When several of his band members were drafted during World War II, he had trouble with their replacements, and WSFA terminated his contract because of his alcoholism.
Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
Yep. He married singer Audrey Shepard, who was his manager for nearly a decade, and all kinds of songs we've never heard of.
Mhm.
He joined the Grand Ole Opry, but he was unable to read or notate music to any significant degree. So among the hits he wrote were Your Cheatin' Heart,
Yeah,
hey,
I know that one.
Hey Good Looking,
Yeah, I know that one.
I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry.
Hey, good looking, what you got cooking?
Is that the
How
one?
about cooking something up with me?
Is that country?
Yeah.
I know that song, I guess.
Yeah.
So years of back pain, alcoholism, and prescription drug abuse severely compromised his health. In 1952, he divorced Shepard and married singer Billie Jean Horton. He was dismissed by the Grand Ole Opry because of his unreliability and alcoholism. On New Year's Day, 1953, he suffered from heart failure and died suddenly at the age of 29 in Oak Hill, West Virginia. Despite his relatively brief...
He was 29?
Yeah.
Jesus, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his brief career, he's one of the most celebrated and influential musicians of the 20th century,
Mhm.
especially in country music.
Yeah.
Many artists have covered his songs, and he has influenced Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis, George Jones, George Strait, Charlie Pride, and the Rolling Stones, among others.
Yeah.
He was inducted in the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1961, Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1970, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987.
Okay.
And there's other stuff he's done and gotten and other things.
That's probably sufficient.
Yeah, we don't have to
We don't need to
talk
go
about
all
the
there.
details of how when they found him dead and all that. Oh wait, no, this is why I kept it in. This is pretty good because he was driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of creepy. So he was scheduled to perform at Municipal Auditorium in Charleston, West Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
on New Year's Eve, but he couldn't fly because of an ice storm in Nashville. So he hired a college student, Charles Carr, to drive him to the concerts.
Yeah.
Carr called Charleston Auditorium from Knoxville to say Williams would not arrive on time because of the ice storm, and was instead ordered to drive him to Canton, Ohio for a New Year's Day concert there.
Mhm.
Two arrived at the Andrew Jackson Hotel in Knoxville, Tennessee. Carr requested a doctor for Williams, who was affected by the combination of the chloral hydrate and alcohol he had drunk on the way to Knoxville. Dr. P.H. Cardwell injected Williams with 2 shots of vitamin B12 that also contained a quarter grain of morphine. Carr and Williams checked out of the hotel, but the porters had to carry Williams to the car as he was coughing and hiccuping.
Mhm.
Around midnight on January 1st, 1953, when the two crossed the Tennessee state line and arrived in Bristol, Virginia, Carr stopped at a small all-night restaurant and asked Williams if he wanted to eat. Williams said he did not, and those are believed to be his last words. Car later drove on until he stopped for fuel at a gas station in Oak Hill, West Virginia, where he realized that Williams had been dead for so long that rigor mortis had already set in.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, the station's owner called the local police chief, and Williams Cadillac, the police found some empty beer cans and unfinished handwritten lyrics. Dr. Ivan Malinin performed the autopsy.
God, that's so sad. I didn't know he was that young.
Yeah, he found hemorrhages in the heart and neck and pronounced the cause of death insufficiency of the right ventricle of the heart.
Wow.
But he also wrote that Williams had been severely beaten and kicked in the groin recently. And local magistrate Virgil F. Lyons ordered an inquest into his death concerning a welt that was visible on his head.
Whoa.
Yeah, but that's all I read.
That was it?
Yeah,
There's
I don't know.
nothing
I
else
guess
about
they must
that?
not have found anything, I guess, because that would have been,
Yeah.
I guess. And his funeral was the largest to have ever been held in Alabama, I guess.
Okay.
Montgomery. Anyway. And then January 3rd, Frances Bolton and her son Oliver from Ohio become the first mother and son to serve simultaneously in the U.S. Congress.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Two
special.
congressmen. Republicans, they're both rich white people. And then January 5th, 1953, Samuel Beckett's play Waiting for Godot
Yes.
had its first public stage premiere
Never been a fan
in Paris.
myself.
Yeah, well, it's whatever. It's all right. I like Waiting for Guffman better.
Yeah, I do too.
January 7th, 1953, U.S. President Harry S. Truman announced the U.S. had developed a hydrogen bomb.
Oh, boy.
January 9th, 1953 was a Friday. Bevo Francis from Rio Grande College scored 116 points in a basketball game.
That's a lot, huh?
That's a lot of fucking points. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. This guy was pretty tall. He was like 6'9". But there was some controversy about this, and I guess NCAA doesn't even recognize this anymore as an official because the Rio Grande College they would play against a bunch of shitty teams, like a bunch of shitty schools with barely any people or something. So they run up the score a lot, I guess. But yeah, so look that guy up if you're interested in that because I don't really care that much about it.
No, me neither.
I know you don't. That's why I skipped
Me
that.
neither.
I got that guy's whole life and career and his
Jesus.
family background. I'm going to skip it
Thank you.
in the interest of time.
Lovely.
Wednesday, January 14th, 1953, the CIA-sponsored Robertson panel first met to discuss the UFO phenomenon. Remember I said the Robertson panel because of all those DC sightings?
Right.
This is the first time they met. Ooh, UFOs are real. And that brings us to January 15th was a Thursday, 1953, and you're going to tell us about a horrible, awful crash.
Yes. I'm going to mix the things up a little bit this week, and I'm going to talk about a train crash.
Well, you talk about it, babe. As long as it's unpleasant, you'll talk about it.
Yeah. This is the Pennsylvania Railroad train wreck.
Pennsylvania Railroad train wreck.
So the Federal Express number 173 was a southbound Boston to Washington, D.C. overnight train.
Okay.
And it was carrying mail and passengers.
Okay, mail and passengers. Not to be confused with male passengers.
Right. When the train arrived in New Haven, a New Haven electric locomotive replaced the diesel, along with adding several passenger cars from Springfield for the run to New York's Penn Station, where another locomotive was coupled on.
So far, nothing sounds suspicious to me.
So the train had 16 coaches and Pullman sleeping cars. Those are those ones with all the windows around.
Pullman sleeping cars. I didn't know they were called Pullman. Is that the manufacturer?
Yeah.
Right.
So then they departed Boston at 11 o'clock p.m.
Boston, where everybody says park your car.
They made 2 stops. Then they halted at Kingston, Rhode Island, about 70 miles south of Boston.
Here's a Boston stereotype that I should probably let go, but I have. If you tell me you're from Boston, I assume that you have red hair and your skin is bright red and sunburnt. And you say, park the car. I don't know. I think I saw one guy from Boston one time.
And that's just what's in your head.
At like in Florida somewhere, like some vacation. He was from Boston. He was real obnoxious and he had a Patriot shirt on.
Don't let that.
Sorry, every other Boston. I watched the whole thing of Cheers 9 episodes. There was hardly ever any red-haired, sunburnt guys. Okay. I don't know about why. That's why I picture.
So they departed Boston at 11 o'clock p.m. I already said that. So then they made 2 stops. Then they halted at Kingston, Rhode Island, about 70 miles south of Boston.
Okay.
The brakes were sticking.
Uh-oh.
And so they inspected it for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's a sufficient time to inspect sticky brakes, I would say.
And what they discovered was a closed angle cock, which is a shutoff valve.
So I was not
And it was at
expecting
the-
a closed angle cock.
Yep.
What'd you call it? An
Angle
cock. I was expecting maple syrup to be the issue. They just like wash it and it'll be fine.
No. This was at the
So it's an
rear of the
angle
third car.
Rear of the third car had a closed angle cock.
And so the air brake system aboard the rail cars had angle cocks at each end of each car.
So angle
Okay.
cocks are normal.
And both valves had to be open for the air braking system to operate.
Okay, yeah, because it's air.
The only closed valve would be at the very rear of the final car.
Yeah, because it's got to stop somewhere.
Yeah,
Right.
because air brakes on trains are powered by a compressed air tank aboard each car. If the cars separate from one another or
Yeah.
from the engine, the pressure automatically drops and the cars will brake to a stop.
Oh, okay, that's how they work, huh? I
Yeah.
never really gave that much thought.
Closing an angle cock at any point along the system keeps the air pressure in the air brakes high, and then that prevents the engine from reducing the air pressure and activating the braking system.
Oh, okay, angle cock.
So a routine inspection during the train stop in New York City, inspectors later said, found the angle cock was correct in the open position.
That's a nice angle cock. The angle cock's all good.
But,
Is the angle cock throbbing?
stop it.
Sorry.
But an after-accident investigation by
Yeah.
the ICC revealed that the handle of the angle cock at the rear of the third coach was not in the correct position.
Oh, so somebody
So this meant that the
mistakenly-
engine could only activate the braking power of the first 3 coaches.
Oh,
So the Federal
The third
Express,
one's gonna
but so
keep going.
go back to
Gotcha.
before the accident. So they don't
Okay.
know that right now.
back to
The
yeah.
Federal Express, all they know is the angle cock's open.
The angle cock's open.
Yep. They departed New York City at 4:38 a.m. and they made its regularly scheduled stop at Philadelphia, Wilmington, Delaware, Baltimore. No braking troubles were reported at those stops.
No braking troubles.
It departed Baltimore at 7:50 a.m. And Baltimore was the train's last stop before arriving at Union Station, which was its final destination.
Final destination.
After leaving Baltimore, train accelerated to 80 miles an hour, which is
Okay.
its normal speed.
All right.
As it neared Landover, Maryland, engineer Henry W. Brower tried to slow the train for its approach into Washington.
Normal thing to do. He's
But-
not a bad guy.
But the train slowed to just 60 miles an hour.
Uh-oh.
So then he activated the emergency brakes, but the train only slowed to 50 miles an hour.
Uh-oh.
So then he puts the engine in reverse,
Oh, that's a smart move.
but the electric engine began malfunctioning due to the stress placed on it,
Oh,
which I
no.
think that
Yeah, flipping something to reverse.
putting something in reverse, is this guy insane? I guess he was panicking.
Well, you got to do something if
He's
it's not going to
panicking,
stop.
yeah. Sparks then start issuing from the wheels of the engines of the first 3 coaches as they tried to slow the train. So then the Federal Express starts descending a 5,500 foot long section of track on this really steep grade. Okay? So it's
Yeah.
going downhill pretty steep. This causes the train to accelerate because it's going downhill.
Right.
So Brower began making the railroad's distress signal on the engine's air horn.
Okay.
So then in the train yard at Union Station, towerman John Feeney and K-Tower set the switches to shunt the Federal Express then onto a different track.
Okay.
But when the train raced past him at high speed,
Yeah.
he telephoned the station master's office. So then clerk Ray
Telephone.
Klopp picked up the phone, and then Feeney shouted, "Runway on track 16." Klopp looked up to see the train racing directly toward his office.
What's the guy's name? Roy Clock?
Roy Klopp.
Roy Klopp?
Yeah.
So Roy Klopp's got a train coming right at his
Right
office?
at him.
Poor Roy Klopp.
So he shouts, "Run for your lives." And then he and all the
Oh,
other
shit.
clerks
Run
out of the office as fast as they could.
Fucking run for your fucking life!
They had just 20 seconds to get out of the way.
That's not a long time to get out of his way of a speeding train. Poor Roy Klopp.
And so, meanwhile, aboard the train,
Yeah.
the conductor,
Oh, he's
Thomas
shitting
J.
his pants.
Murphy,
Everybody's
is
shitting their
running
pants.
through the train from
Just shitting
end
his
to end,
pants.
shouting at the passengers
With
to
shit,
get
just
down. Shut
diarrhea.
up. Let me tell the
Sorry,
story.
sorry.
Get down as low as they can on the floor on their seats.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So
This is scary.
Passengers aboard the train knew something was wrong pretty early on because the train would normally be moving very slowly as it passed beneath Florida Avenue. But this time, it rushed past the bridge.
Oh, my God.
The Federal Express was still moving at about 45 miles an hour when it was 1,000 feet from the terminal. It had slowed to just 35 miles an hour when it struck the bumper, which is like the steel thing at the end of the track.
Okay.
The train crashes through the buffer stop,
Yep.
then through the station master's office,
Oh.
and then
Right through his
demolished a
office.
newsstand.
Oh, my God. So it makes
Then-
me wonder, why would you put the office right at the end of a track?
Then it started skidding to its right. And then it also destroyed a steel pillar in the concourse and tore through the concourse's concrete floor, which was 6 inches higher than the tracks outside. The floor, then, not designed to hold the weight of a train, gave
no.
way
Holy
beneath
shit.
the 475,000-pound locomotive.
Oh, my God.
And the rear,
How many pounds?
475,000 pounds.
Really?
And the rear of the engine plunged into the baggage and mail rooms in the basement below.
Holy shit.
2 coaches came loose from the engine and the rest of the train, and one of them slid onto the concourse to the right of the engine, coming to rest almost abreast of it. The
Oh my
other
God.
one nosed downward behind the engine into the gigantic hole in the concourse floor. 6 more coach cars jumped the tracks behind the train.
Holy crap.
The engine was just inches from smashing into the crowded waiting room beyond the concourse.
Oh, my God. That could have killed so many more people.
A Life magazine photo showed the nose of the engine just pushing open the doors to the waiting room.
Holy
Amazingly.
crap. Can you imagine being in that waiting room and seeing that thing come at you?
Seriously.
And then just stop?
Amazingly, no one died.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No one died during this accident.
Not even Roy Klopp?
Only 43 people were injured, 6 seriously enough to require overnight hospitalization.
Holy shit. How is that possible?
Well, most of the workers in the basement had just left for their coffee break.
if they hadn't
which
left,
saved
they
their
would have been
lives.
dead, yeah.
And 4
Good thing for
Union
coffee.
station workers were briefly trapped in the wreckage, but quickly extricated.
Wow.
The engineer had no injuries, and the fireman received only scratches. Both men climbed out of the engine under their own power.
What?
Yeah.
Were people just tougher back then, or what?
Yeah, I would say. The station
Yeah.
master's clock, which was found in the wreckage, showed the time at 8:38 a.m. So the
All because of a broken shuttlecock.
angle cock.
Same thing.
NBC News was able to broadcast live from Union Station just 67 minutes after the wreck
Really?
occurred.
They
This
got-
was, for the time, one of the fastest live nationwide broadcasts
I
ever
would
made.
guess. Just like, go, turn it on, yeah.
So the train service was delayed, but it wasn't canceled despite the extensive damage. I don't know how.
What?
As the incident occurred just 5 days before the inauguration of Dwight
Oh,
Eisenhower as
yeah.
the
We're gonna
34th
get into
president
that
of the
in a
United
second.
States.
Yeah.
It was decided to make temporary repairs to accommodate the expected crowds. So they worked round the clock. The derailed cars were removed, the engine lowered into the basement, and Steiner Construction erected a temporary wooden floor over the hole in the concourse and covered it with quick-drying asphalt in just 2 days.
You said erect and asphalt.
The workers also built a temporary station master's office and newsstand in time for the crowds coming into D.C.
Wow.
And the PRR 4876, which was the
PRR
the end,
4876.
the end locomotive, I think, it was later dismantled and shipped back to the Pennsylvania Railroad's main shop complex,
Yeah.
where it was rebuilt. It remained in service for the next 30 years.
What?
The engine is currently
Wow.
in storage at the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum in Baltimore.
Well, it's not the engine's fault. It's just that shuttle.
And the last little note, the wreck of the Federal Express later inspired a similar scene in the 1976 movie.
Rocky.
No,
1976.
train crash. Movie with a train crash. You do this to me all the
do
time.
I know it? Would
Yeah.
I know it?
Yeah.
I would know it.
I'm bad. I'm bad.
Oh. I'm bad. Yeah. Rocky, right?
Silver Streak.
Oh, I don't think I ever saw Silver Streak.
You've never seen
Oh, is that one of the ones with
Gene
the Richard
Wilder
Pryor
and Richard
Gene Wilder?
Pryor. You've never seen
No,
that?
I saw the other ones with them, but I never saw Silver. I saw
Silver Streak is great.
What's the other ones with those guys? There's like 3 of them.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Silver Streak is isn't that the sequel or is that the original?
That's the original.
Yeah, I don't know Silver Streak. I think I saw.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Stir Crazy.
Stir Crazy is the one I saw.
Yeah, you got to see Silver Streak.
Yeah, Richard Pryor was great, and so was Gene Wilder. I should watch it.
It's a great movie.
I probably saw Silver Streak.
I think it might be a little problematic in a few places, but given the
Richard Pryor had sex with Marlon Brando.
Richard Pryor was very ahead of his time. He had like a kind of a postmodern look at racism, I think.
Yeah, he really did.
You know, he was really in your face about it, and
I'm glad.
I think it's hard. I think some modern audiences might be
dead
shocked
honky.
a little bit. Yeah,
SNL. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, is that your whole thing?
That's it. That's the train crash.
That's a fucked up crash. No wonder you did it. I was wondering why you would agree to that, but it's pretty eventful.
Pretty good.
All right, we'll finish up now.
Yes.
Ready? We got a birthday. Let's got a couple things.
Okay.
We got one birthday, January 18th, 1953.
Amy hates birthdays. Amy hates birthdays.
All right. Dr. Basant Kumar Misra is born, a neurosurgeon specializing in treating brain, spine, cerebrovascular, and peripheral nervous system disorders, injuries, pathologies, and malformations. He's the vice president of the World Federation of Neurosurgical Societies and the former president of the Australasian Society of Neurological Surgeons and the Neurological
Why
Society
are we
of
talking
India.
about him?
Because he's the recipient of the Dr. B.C. Roy Award, the highest medical honor in India.
Oh, jeez. All right.
He was born in Bhubaneswar.
This is lovely, but
To
it
eminent
does.
economist
I am
Dr.
not interested.
Misra and Mrs. Basanti Misra, a homemaker. We had to get a birthday in there, okay?
And that was the only thing you could find.
The only thing I could find. January 19th, 1953 was a Monday. 71% of all television sets in the U.S. were tuned to CBS to watch Lucy give birth to little Ricky.
And they
on I
and they
Love
graphically showed her poop on the table.
They show the poop coming out of her butt, but they wouldn't say pregnancy.
Right.
When
And
they
they wouldn't
did-
let him
they-
sleep in the same
Yeah,
bed.
they show the whole thing. The whole episode was just a
Graphic of
crotch
the birth.
shot the whole time. A graphic thing and just endless amounts of afterbirth and poop coming out of her.
All right.
January
Jesus.
2nd. And then,
Oh.
and then the next day, Dwight D. Eisenhower was sworn in as 34th president of the U.S.
That's right.
January 20th, 1953 was a Tuesday, and this telecast was transmitted to Canada from Buffalo, New York. It was the first live U.S. coast-to-coast inauguration address that day. And then Wednesday, January 21st, nothing happened. And then Thursday, January 22nd, The Crucible, a drama by Arthur Miller,
Mhm.
opened on Broadway.
Yep.
January 23rd.
I was in that. I played
You were
Abigail.
in that one in 1953? You were
No.
in-
No, in high school I was in it.
Oh,
I played the main character.
you're beautiful. You're very great at acting. January 23rd, the NFL Dallas Texans became the Baltimore Colts. They're now the Indianapolis Colts. And the NFL's National and American Conference became their Eastern and Western conferences.
Okay.
January 28th, 1953 was a Wednesday. Derek Bentley was executed for murder at Wandsworth Prison in London. We talked about him.
Yes, we did.
January 9th, 1953 was a Thursday. We have another birthday. Taiwanese singer Teresa Tang was born.
Okay.
Her career spanned 30
No,
years.
we're done.
Okay,
We're not. You're not doing
She's
that.
a Taiwanese singer. Anyway, her songs have been
I
covered by
think it's
hundreds
time
of
to
singers all over
Get
the
out of
world.
here, Chuck
That's the last thing I know.
Berry.
And it's time to get out of here. We'll come back next episode. This has been episode 160. Thank you for
Woo! Get your
listening,
tits out.
time heads. Yeah, that everybody knows the 160th episode is where
So get your tits out.
listeners get their tits out wherever you are, men
Whoever
and
you
women,
are,
and
wherever
whoever
you
you are, whatever you are, whatever you identify as. Get what could be closest to resemble tits in your existence.
Get 'em out.
Get them out.
All right.
Wherever you are.
Thanks
at
for
whatever time it
listening,
is.
people.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for still listening to this.
Yeah, we care about
bullshit.
you. There's people listening. We're not sure why, but
We
keep
love
on
it.
doing it. We're
We
glad
love
you
it.
are.
Yep.
We'll send you some cheese.
Maybe. From under cheese.
Yeah, from under what? From under Dale. Let Dale through.
In the darkness of the night, it's alright. She put the diamonds in the sky tonight. She called my name 100 times. Alright. She brought me
Truman Ego Trip is the greatest band of all time. Buy their music.